Bojo Kanoya, Apegish Imnoya Pane. We here at Nishnaabemwin in Nipissing and Wang believe peer review is an important process in the education process. However, due to lack of speaker accessibility, scheduling, and these lessons being produced by second language learners, we tend to make mistakes in how Nishnaabemwin is represented. We encourage you to think with a critical mind when watching our videos and question the validity of something said in the video that catches your attention. We are language learners and naturally don't know what we don't know. We don't discourage others from helping us out by educating us, and if you see a mistake you would like us to rectify, you can do so by contacting the email in the video description. We also ask for your patience in waiting for edits, because it is a long process to edit mistakes we share in our videos, and there is the possibility that it might not align with the speakers of Nipissing First Nation. Miigwech Bisinduyang, Wewe Nog Nawam Damuk.
On in Bojo Kanoya, Mr. McLeod Mondai Amina, Bajinaka Queen Monim. I just want to let you guys know that links to the dictionary, PDFs to the worksheet, audio files are in links in the description of this video, as well as any other resources that'll help you out with this lesson will eventually be there as soon as I'm done making them. Aho, miigwech.
On in Bojo, Mr. McLeod, Mondai Amina, and today's lesson is called Singular Pronoun Inflections. So this is where we're incorporating pronouns like I and you into our VTA phrases. So previously in Nishnaabemwin, in our last lesson, we learned how to manipulate our VTA words to express she or he is acting on fourth, or she or he is being acted upon by fourth. So we broke our lesson into two parts. Part one was our pronoun prefix o. Part two was our directional suffixes on and igon. Our on suffix communicates that action is coming from our pronoun prefix. Third person singular is acting on fourth. Our igon suffix communicates that action is being directed at our pronoun prefix. Third person singular is being acted upon by fourth person. Because our VTA words can utilize a wide variety of pronouns in a lot of different combinations, VTA words in A form use both prefixes and suffixes simultaneously to express who is acting on whom. Just like our previous lesson, we'll divide this lesson up into two sections. The first section will be how we use our prefixes, and the second part will be covering our suffixes. Much of what we've covered in previous lessons will apply to today's lesson. We will need to use our extended pronoun do for certain phrasing. We will need to use our D prefix in between our pronoun prefixes and VTA words that begin with vowel sounds. Suffixes like a communicates that action is coming from our pronoun prefix. Suffixes like ig communicates that action is being directed at our pronoun prefix. VTA enders will morph when certain suffixes are added, so we will be on the lookout for those as well. As always, when adding suffixes, second last consonant rule is in effect and should be applied to our VTA words when adding suffixes a, ig, etc. Here are the points for you to write down in your notes. Make sure to get these down before we move on. We'll give you a chance to pause here. Miskoye, ambe. Part basic. Prefixes. How to use our N and G prefixes to include I and U into our VTA inflections. Prefixes. We know from previous lessons that our pronoun words neen and geen inform us on how to construct our pronoun prefixes. Neen means I or me, also understood as first person singular, 1PS, and it is reduced to an N pronoun prefix for our verb and noun inflections. Geen means you, also understood as second person singular, 2ps, and it is reduced to a G pronoun prefix for our verb and noun inflections. So here we have the verb wabum, see him or her. Then we add the N in front as our pronoun prefix. Here we have wabum again, and we add the G pronoun prefix. So we go from wabum to nwabum or wabum. Here are the points for you to write down in your notes. Make sure to get these down before moving on. We'll give you a chance to pause here. Miskoye, ambe. VTA says start with a vowel sound. And we have the sign up, meaning you should write all these points down before we move on to the next slide. When a VTA word starts with a stressed vowel or de-stressed vowel, we need to insert a D sound in between our pronoun prefix, that's the N or G, and our VTA word. Make sure to check the full vowel versions of our words in the dictionary to see if our VTA begins with a de-stressed vowel sound. If it does begin with a de-stressed vowel sound, use your pronoun prefix along with the D prefix mentioned above and re-stress the short vowel sound by incorporating it into your inflections. We'll give you a chance here to pause the video and write these down in your notes before we move on. Miskoye, ambe. When to use our D prefix. So here we have two examples. We have a VTA word that starts with a stressed vowel sound, on me. So we have a stressed vowel sound starting here with the double A sound in front. The second example has a de-stressed vowel sound in the front of the verb. So this word is normally pronounced no, meaning point at him or her. But when we start including prefixes, we have to keep in mind that there's this I sound that we normally de-stress as vowel droppers. So here is how we incorporate the D prefix. Remember, we include it in between the pronoun prefix and the VTA or verb. So if we're doing first person, it would be dan. If we're doing second person singular, we use the G prefix instead of an N. Gedan. For no, we use our pronoun prefix followed by our D prefix and incorporate the de-stressed I sound. In the no, for first person singular, same process, but instead of an N sound, we're going to use a G sound in place of the N. Deneo, extended pronoun. Extended pronouns are pronoun prefixes with an additional sound. It appears that extended pronouns are prevalent among many Eastern dialects of Nishnaabemwin. Some use de, da, or do. Nipissing Nishnaabemwin uses do. You can use the extended pronoun on any verb in present tense, but I do recommend you to follow some rules I will explain. Here are the points for you to write down in your notes before we move on. Make sure to get these down and pause the video. Iskoye, ambe. So when to use extended pronouns? They only appear in the absence of a tense marker. Do not use them in front of a tense marker. If a verb begins with the same letter as the pronoun prefix, so for example, we have no swaj, follow him or her. It's not natural to have a double N sound for our first person inflections, so we use the do prefix instead of just an prefix for these examples, because there's two N's. Same thing for gosh bij, scratch him or her. Normally, we don't use two G sounds next to each other like this. So normally, speakers would use gosh bij. This is so we can be more clear about who is doing what. Rule number 3. If the verb begins with a cluster of consonant sounds at the beginning of the verb. So for this example, we have gnwabum. Our cluster of consonant sounds is right at the beginning. This GN sound in front would make it really difficult if we had an N or G sound added to the front of the verb. If we tried to say gnwabum, It's very stressful on our vocal cords. To relieve that stress, this is where our extended pronoun comes in dog nawabam. Same thing if we want to use the G prefix. It's very difficult to have nawabam, so to give us some space to say this more clearly, we will use our extended pronoun. Dog nawabam, and we have the sign up, meaning that you should write all these down before moving on. We'll give you a chance to pause here. Miskoye, ambe. Part nij, suffixes, using our a, ig, I, and in suffixes to direct action. Directing who is acting on whom. Just like in our previous lesson, when our suffixes indicated if the action was coming from or going towards our pronoun prefix, same thing for today's lesson. In today's lesson, we'll be attaching either prefix to our VTA words, N or G, as instructed earlier. We will then attach the following suffixes that communicates how the action is being directed: a, ig, I, or none, and lastly, in. We have the sign up, meaning that you should write these points down before we move on to the next slide. Suffixes ig, I, and in cause some of our VTA endings to morph, just like in the last lesson. Keep track of those. The pattern for these will be our pronoun prefix, followed by our VTA word, and then our directional suffix. You are expected to apply our second last consonant rule anytime you add a suffix to our VTA words. We'll give you a chance here to pause the video and write these down in your notes before moving on. Miskoye, ambe. All right, we have the sign up, meaning that you should write these points down before moving on to the next slide. When we attach the suffix a, it means action is coming from our pronoun prefix. So blank a, I am acting on him or her. G blank a, you are acting on him or her. When we attach the suffix ig, it means action is being directed to our pronoun prefix. Blank ig, I am being acted upon by him or her. G blank ig, you are being acted on by him or her. We can also translate the inflections with ig like so. Blank ig, she or he is acting on me. G blank ig, she or he is acting on you. Make sure to get these points written down in your notes. We'll give you a chance to pause here. Miskoye, ambe. We have the sign up, meaning that you should write these down before we move on to the next slide. When we attach the suffix I, it means action is coming from our pronoun prefix. Ge blank I, you are acting on me. You can also omit the I suffix in the previous inflection, and it would mean the same. Many dialects prefer this inflection paradigm. Ge blank, you are acting on me. When we attach the suffix in, it means action is being directed at our pronoun prefix. Ge blank in, you are being acted upon by me. You can also translate the previous inflection paradigm as ge blank in, I am acting on you. Make sure to pause the video and get these down in your notes before moving on. Miskoye, ambe. Hierarchy of pronouns. In Nishnaabemwin VTA inflections, we have a hierarchy of pronouns. This dictates the order to which our pronouns interact amongst each other. If your VTA inflection uses second person singular, you will start the inflection with a G and a directional suffix to determine how second person is acting or being acted upon. Here are the points for you to write down in your notes. Make sure to get these down before moving on. Miskoye, ambe. If second person is not used in the inflection paradigm, n, or first person singular, assumes the role of pronoun prefix, and then is accompanied by a directional suffix to complete the inflection paradigm. Third person assumes the role as pronoun prefix o if first person singular and second person singular aren't involved in the phrase. The following slide illustrates this hierarchy in a visual with arrows directing the action. Make sure to get these points written down in your notes before moving on. We'll give you a chance to pause here. Iskoye, ambe. So here we have gin, you, at the top of our hierarchy of pronouns. Next in line is neen, and the last is ween, she or he. For any inflections that involve first person and third person, you're going to have the N prefix first. So VTA, I am acting on him or her. And for the reverse action, VTA, ig, I am being acted upon by him or her. She or he is acting on me. For second person, we have g, VTA, you are acting on him or her. And the inverse, ge, VTA, ig, you are being acted on by him or her, also known as she or he is acting on you. If the interactions involve second person and first person, this is how they are constructed. Ge, VTA, I, or nothing, you are acting on me. And the inverse, ge, VTA, in, you are being acted on by me. Or you can also construct the phrase, I am acting on you. Now we're going to be covering our VTA paradigms. If you'll see, we have the sign up, meaning that you should write all these down before moving on. So for our M enders, you're going to use gnawabum, look at someone. And dok gnawabma, a moose, I'm looking at the moose. And dok gnawabmig, a moose, I am being looked at by the moose. Moving on to our glottal stop enders, because we have 3 varieties, we're going to cover all 3 in these lessons. Be, put someone to bed. Nshke, anger someone. Zagae, love someone. Don be ya a nbibis, I'm putting my baby to bed. Don shkia a amo, I am angering the bee. Nzaga and dada, I love my dad. Don beyig and dada, I am being put to bed by my dad. Don shkiig a amo, I am being angered by the bee. Nzagig and dada, I am loved by my dad. We'll give you a chance to pause the video here and write these down in your notes before moving on. Miskoye, ambe. For our N enders, we're using kidin, release, allow, or let go of someone. Dop kidna a ganebik, I am letting go of the snake. Dop kidnig a ganebik, I am being let go of by the snake. For our dummy N enders, we're using no swaj, follow someone. Do no swana a maingan, I am following the wolf. Do no swanig a maingan, I am being followed by the wolf. We'll give you a chance to pause here and write these down in your notes before moving on. Miskoye, ambe. On in Bojo Kanawia, editing Mr. McLeod, Mondaya. So I noticed in my editing video there was some information missing, and so I had to put together this kind of recording for a little bit of the video, and then we'll go back to our regular scheduled video. So yeah, without further ado, we're just going to pick up kind of where we left off here. We have our AW ender, cow, find someone. And then the Ojibwe here, Ndom Koa a Benojis. And that means I am finding the child. Now we have the Ojibwe here, Ndom Cog a Benojis. This means I am found by the child. Our fused W ender is no, point at or to someone. Ndinoa a babies. I am pointing at the baby. Ndino wig a babies. I am being pointed at by the baby. We'll give you a chance to pause here in the video in order to write these down for your notes. Please pause the video here before moving on. Miskoye ambe. So here we have some more VTA paradigms. We have our g to ah and our g to ig. So for our M ender, we're still going to use gnawabum, look at someone. Gdog gnawabma amos. You are looking at the moose. Gdog gnawabmig amos. You are being looked at by the moose. We have our glottal stop enders. Mbe, put someone to bed. Nshke, anger someone. Zage, love someone. Gdo and Beya, babies. You are putting your baby to bed. Gdo and Shkeya, amo. You are angering the bee. Gazaga, gamama. You love your mom. Gdo and Beyig, gamama. You are being put to bed by your mom. Gdo and Shkeyig, amo. You are being angered by the bee. Gazagig, gamama. You are loved by your mom. We'll give you a chance to pause the video here to write these down before moving on. Make sure to pause and write these down. Miskoye ambe. For our N ender, we're going to use pkidin, which means release, allow, or let go of someone. Gdop kidna a gnabik. You are letting go of the snake. Gdop kidnig a gnabik. You are being let go of by the snake. For our dummy N ender, we're going to use no swaj, follow someone. Gnoswana a bibis. You are following the baby. Gnoswanig a bibis. You are being followed by the baby. We'll give you a chance to pause the video here and write these down in your notes before move on. Miskoye ambe. Now we have our AW ender. Cow, find someone. Gdom kawa a benojis. You are finding the child. Gdom kog a benojis. You are found by the child. We have our fused W ender. No, point at or to someone. Gdenowa a bibis. You are pointing at the baby. Gdenowig a bibis. You are being pointed at by the baby. All right, we'll give you a chance to pause here in the video and write these down in your notes before moving on. Please pause and write these down. Miskoye ambe. Now back to your regular scheduled video. So here we have a new paradigm. We have the second person to first person, the you to me. Also, we have the inverse of that. You are being acted upon by me. We also have the sign up, meaning that you should write these down before moving on to the next slide. So for this first one, we have two examples here. Gdog nawab me or Gdog nawabam. Either of these mean you are looking at me. And the inverse, Gdog nawab min. You are being looked at by me. Moving on to our glottal stop enders. Gdon beye. you are putting me to bed. Donske, you are angering me. Zage, you love me. And the inverse, Gedonbeyin, you are being put to bed by me. Gedonskeyin, you are being angered by me. Gezagen, you are loved by me. We'll give you a chance to pause the video here and write these down in your notes before moving on. Miskoye, ambe. Gdopkidne, or Gdopkidin, you are letting go of me. Gdopkidnin, you are being let go of by me. Gnoswane, or Gnoswaj, you are following me. Gnoswanin, you are being followed by me. We'll give you a chance here to pause the video to write these down in your notes before moving on. Miskoye, ambe. Gdomkoe, or Gdomkow, you found me. Gdomkon, you are found by me. Gdenoe, you are pointing at me. Gdenoin, you are being pointed at by me. Again, we'll give you a chance here to pause the video and write these down in your notes before moving on. Miskoye, ambe. Lesson recap. When we attach the suffix a, it means action is coming from our pronoun prefix. N blank a, I'm acting on him or her. G blank a, you are acting on him or her. When we attach the suffix ig, it means action is directed at our pronoun prefix. N blank ig, I am being acted on by him or her. G blank ig, you are being acted on by him or her. When we attach the suffix I, it means action is coming from our pronoun prefix. G blank I, you are acting on me. You can also omit the I suffix in the previous inflection, and it would mean the same. Many dialects prefer this inflection paradigm. G blank, you are acting on me. When we attach the suffix in, it means action is being directed at our pronoun prefix. G blank in, you are being acted on by me. VTA enders like the ZH or dummy N, AW, and glottal stop are subject to morphing and need to be adjusted depending on suffixes added. Mise gekpiaja, that's finally it for today.